Like, that has been the big thing that we continue to process, is how much we are really addicted to our savers and our functions and our biases and all the rest, and how much we're not seeing reality, and how much, like, not taking it so personal, because you think people are fucking with you. Like, that's the thing. Like, we get super extroverted, chaotic people or super emo people, and it's so funny how, like, intensely, like, out of a cartoon character they are. Yeah. Super, super quiet, introvert, mopey, or super, super extroverted, and then type themselves, like, completely upside down.
Yeah, it's
as if they're trolling us, as if they're joking. You're like, I don't know what to say, and like that like getting to the point to where, oh, this is normal. This is normal. You're supposed to do this.
Yeah, but that one time I was so good back at, Hume Lake. I used to work at Hume Lake. So I was so good at planning. In fact, I did all this planning and I did all this organizing. In fact, that no one had ever done it before. And I was really good. And even in my photography business, it was like, yeah, but all the coordinators, they don't do the scheduling, but I do. And I'm really good at that. And I actually made all the schedules. And that's what our prior arguments were about. I'm like, but I really was good at all this planning stuff. And like the first thing out of your mouth so fast was like, oh my God, you're such a bullshit. Because why? Like, how was I with shopping?
Just chaos, crazy hell. Like right. We made fun of the saying, plan as I go. Like, no, that's improvising. That's not real planning.
Plan as I go. That was totally like the skip. I plan as I go. That's not planning.
Yeah. And I used to define myself as somebody who was extremely open-minded and doing research for much of the year. And then I would narrow it in, like, just like how much our brains will just run towards, what you wish you're doing. So it's like, it's who are you in the tribe in reality? And that's...
In reality. That's so hard to track.
That you are now dealing with your enemies. You're dealing with the bully. You're dealing with the people that hate you because they are the ones that are seeing the negative.
Like side of you.
10 people, what are they saying behind your back?
Right.
If a person hasn't gotten to the state where they're calm with that kind of self-awareness and that darkness, then this is a horrible time to be introduced to the rest of reality of what people are really saying behind your back.
Right.
What void are you filling? What void are you leaving that other people have to fill? So for yourself, it's like, oh my God, I've had to live in your life. I'm constantly the one stuck with cleaning up all the organizing.
Can you please plan before you go to the grocery store? Didn't even dawn on me because, so this is back to what we see, like this is a reoccurring pattern that we see every single person doing. Back to, but this one time in the past, I remember doing XYZ. So like we call that dirty data. Dirty data. You cannot have a scientific experiment when the variables that you're bringing in is dirty. It's like, that's dirty information. Why? Because it's self-perspective, reporting from the past, your own perspective on self, of your own opinion of this one time. Yeah, but I used to be really extroverted when I was a kid. And then one event happened and even all of my friends and family told me about it. And now I'm less extroverted than that. So how could you possibly ever know that I didn't include that in my video? Like, the amount of times I've heard that kind of statement where it's just from my own perspective, with my own ability to see my own self, I remember this random story, which by the way, it's dirty data because it's subjective from self-perspective. I'm telling you from my perspective, I used to be really extroverted or I really am really great at planning. Whatever the thing is that we are all of a sudden weirdly talking about. I don't know how many videos you want us to do about that. Like how many times have we got to talk about like, why are we even like exactly what you said, like, hey, why are we even talking about how good you are at planning?
Right.
Why is that the entire conversation?
That's the giveaway.
Right. The person goes into proving themselves more like, and this is like every OI.
And the more they talks
about how messy they are.
The more they talk, the more it's obvious to everybody else. Like, okay, so you're obviously not that, or you are that, just because you are talking in circles about it,
Completely. And this is just the thing that we all do. We're all doing this game of like, if I don't see it, then I can't go along with it. So here's the joke. If you already knew this, it wouldn't be missing information.
I know, right.
If it's something in your known information, then you could have figured it out all by your own self and then you'd be on your way. It's going to be outside of your information that you accept, that you believe about yourself. It's supposed to be outside of that. So you can actually see your blind spots. That's the whole game, is to actually see your blind spots. Yeah,
but like if a person doesn't have the practice of that scientific method, then walking into something like this, it's not going to do any good. Like, it's what we're finding. So to kind of answer the question of like, how do you deal with people that are just, obviously an upside down on their type and just going all in and like, you don't even know I'm this type. And everyone's like, what the hell are you talking about?
Right.
So it's like,
hard.
What we have found is that you kind of got to just let them burn themselves out. You can't really help them because it's like
can't.
it's a scientific method type issue. It's a, you know, to give an analogy, you're talking about, say, with fitness or whatever, like you're having a level 10 fitness problem. Like, oh, I have to go to a workout meet tomorrow and I have to lift 500 pounds. Like, well, have you been working out? No. Have you practiced? No. Well, you're probably not going to do it tomorrow.
Yeah, it's not
I got
gonna
to go
happen.
do objective typing. I'm going to get a massive amount of objective reality thrown in my face
Right.
from an outside point of view that I'm
Right.
not going to agree with.
Right.
And I have no idea how to work through all those contradictions because I don't do it in my groceries, my dishes, or with my partner in other areas.
Yeah, and if I don't see it for my own self, I
Right.
cannot believe the
So
information.
if that's the default that's the default setting. The
Right.
non-scientific method, I just run around, I go with my biases and my urges and my grunts, which is why, thank God, there's another program to stop us all from seeing that everyone else is doing that.
Right,
Because
right.
if you saw that everyone else was doing that, then you saw yourself was doing it, you'd be like, oh my God, this is horrible.
It's horrible. I hate
Yeah.
myself. I have to
So
die.
thankfully, there's a gene for that too.
That's true. Delete.
To make you think you're the only one not doing this.
Right, exactly. Okay, so let me give some more sensory on this. What you start saying is, okay, let's define our terms. I say this so many times on the phone. It doesn't matter how many times I say it. Doesn't matter. The person at the end of this game of me attempting to play the scientific method will still turn around and be like, yeah, but when I was a kid. And give a whole nother example.
Yeah.
Always. That's what always happens.
jump to the next one.
Yes,
Yeah.
because if you don't have the practice of being like, hold on a second. So what you're saying is you gave this anecdotal statement of, but you know, consume sleeps are really mopey, right? So there's your or EPs can't plan. Whatever the thing
Right,
is,
right.
whatever like information that we've given out is, they will lock onto that, find a story that
Right.
contradicts that, and therefore they can never, ever, ever come to the truth, right?
Right,
Never come
right.
to reality. And it's like, let's define our terms. So first of all, that's an anecdote and or that is a reoccurring pattern. So let's go into your real life and look for the reoccurring pattern. And it's like brain starts, you know, smoking.
Yeah.
Because there's no way to go into, I have to consistently play the scientific method if I don't see that this is a story that I have in my past. I can't see this about myself, and it's missing information that I don't have about myself, and I don't want to step out into the unknown. I'm not comfortable stepping out into the unknown. It has to be, I know this about myself,
Right.
and I can search for this about myself.
Right.
I
and
want to
how
believe
is that? So 3 years of being on the phone with people, how has that ever worked out when somebody's
Never.
come? There you go.
Never. In
There you go.
fact, the only time, and this is like, I do get a lot of people that actually are like, okay, scientific method, I get it. Okay, so what? Oh, okay. But like, you can tell that it's somebody that's been practicing the scientific method.
That's the bottom line. This has nothing
Right.
to do with arguments or information. I love that. If the information was more clear, then we wouldn't go in circles. Like, no.
nothing to do with that.
This, like, if you really track, it's the type of person. If
Right.
somebody's coming to you and they are the type of person that is the convince me,
You're in trouble.
then that's a stock default person. That's how we all start off. That unless you put in a fucking embarrassing amount of work in some type of scientific arena, scientific method, whether it's jobs or work or spouses or science or something to force you to go like, all right, how do I take in contradictions? How do I see information that I can't see? How do I do like that is such a hard practice.
It very much is.
And either somebody is like consciously deciding to go that direction or not. And so we run into a lot of people that actually do,
Yeah.
but you see them coming. You see they're like, oh yeah, I'm older. I have a job. I get the hell kicked out of me. I've been so convinced I'm right, but then I found out that I'm not.
That one right there.
I've
When you
been-
have giant worldviews, so that's why it happens when you're old
Yeah.
enough. When you have giant worldviews that have been broken down,
Yeah.
where you've had to go, whoa, I was convinced for
Right.
years of my life. I thought I was right. I actually found out I was very wrong. That's when you start kind of, okay, I'm not going to go all in next
Right,
time. I'm going to start
right.
questioning. I'm going to start making sure that my premises are right before I just double down. It has to be this. It has to be true.
Yeah.
And playing that game of the scientific method of let me slow down before I come out concluding.
Right,
you know?
right. So bottom line, it's like what we're doing now at this time
Yeah.
is we're just learning, we're trying to training ourselves to just look for the type of person. So for example, if we've got somebody on our schedule and we can tell like they're just a bullshitter, it's convinced me and they've already typed themselves on their YouTube channel, they're all in on this type, we're like, well, this is going to be a shit show. Let me clear my schedule after that call to go process and get all that negativity and grossness because I'm going to have to work my fucking ass off to
So
dance to try and convince somebody, which is a huge fucking mess.
Yeah.
And you got to like navigate your way through so you don't end up fighting with the crazy person, right?
Right.
Versus like, oh, here comes somebody that is a little bit more humble. They're familiar with the scientific method. They know how hard this is. They know this is a process.
Completely.
And therefore, with that type of person, it is worth putting in a large amount of time because like 3 hours later, oh, we can get
somewhere.
We get somewhere.
Yeah, that's really good.
So that's what we're doing is just looking for the identities on the front end.
Story time. Hey Rocco, do you know what self-awareness is?
Yeah, it's the awareness of self.
That's right, whatever that means. Self-awareness is knowing yourself.
Oh, okay, I know myself very well. I guess I have self-awareness.
Yes, you do. You know what makes you happy.
I know myself.
Yay!
Woo!